Hello and welcome once again to Anthropology 390, Mediterranean Archaeology. This week, this week's work is entitled "Doing Archaeology in the Mediterranean." I'm taking that title from the book. I've taken a lot of our weekly titles from the book, to be perfectly honest, but I think it's particularly appropriate. This week's presentation is going to be relatively short. I want to give you an overview of what you're doing and why you're doing it. But to be perfectly honest, a lot of the content that I might have put on today's presentation was included in that first really long one for week one. Now, let's see if I can get to the next slide. There we go. This week, there's a short video presentation, as I said, and that's the one that you're listening to right now. The week is focusing on doing archaeology in the Mediterranean. So my portion really was given, as I mentioned before, during the week's one video. I've got a little screenshot in the corner here of the site of Monte Polizzo. You've also heard about Jack Davis's experience this week in your readings of classical archaeology. Jack Davis's essay, I think, is particularly good because in many ways it's really representative of the experiences of many classical archaeologists. There were certain paragraphs in his essay that I, sort of starred as, wow, that's just like mine. Others, I have to confess, were not like his. It's is very classical oriented. Mine was a little bit more mixed. So I didn't have some of that same, some of the uglier things that, or more biased things that he mentioned were not really present in my own early experiences in graduate school and in the field. Henry Hurst's take, I think, is particularly important to doing archaeology as well. I think my favorite part of his essay was the importance of an archaeologist as a politician. And that is without question just the most truthful statement. Let's see, we're going to also be doing some supplemental readings. I have 3 extra readings besides your Chapter 3 readings of classical archaeology. One is focused largely on ethics and mostly, to be perfectly honest, of doing archaeology within the waters, within the very sea itself. The other one of the other ones focuses exclusively on survey, and why the title suggests that it's about survey in Cyprus. To be perfectly frank, very little of the article has to do with Cyprus at all, and it's more a survey, if you will, of the entire Mediterranean. Certainly, John Cherry has been foundational in establishing survey as what's increasingly becoming one of the most prominent methods used for investigation of archaeological sites in the Mediterranean. And then the third article I've assigned to you, the article entitled "Colonial Constructs, Colonialism and Archaeology in the Mediterranean" by Van Domelen, one of my favorite scholars. This gives you a theoretical perspective, yes, one that I particularly favor. I've already confessed to that. But I also like that it goes one step further, and it shows you the application of that theoretical perspective in a case study in the island of Sardinia. Oh my gosh, that is my phone. So sorry about that. Love that ringtone, don't ya? Anyway, the only other thing that we have, well, actually we have 2 other things this week with respect to assignments. One is a video about digital archaeology in Greece. And of course, the other assignment is the really brief discussion about that video, where I'm asking you to pose a question and then to respond to two questions posed by other students in some way. It can be answering their question, or it can be an elaboration, or it can be pointing them to information within your readings, or within your own experience, or within the video itself that would pertain to that person's question. The only other thing I want to mention is that this week we're going to have reading questions like we've had the first 2 weeks, and like we will have for every week in the semester. But the format is a little bit different, certainly than week 1. In a lot of ways, I've actually followed the format in week 2. I may go back to that week 1 format where I don't give you the page numbers again, but where I think it's important, where we're actually trying to dig up factual information as opposed to broad concepts, I think it only fair to try and direct you to where you can find that specific information. Granted, when I give you questions like I'm doing this week and last week, where I'm giving you page numbers, I'm giving you more questions because I've made it so much easier for you to find those answers. So anyway, just as I've said in the past, please communicate with me. Send me emails. Since all my courses are online this semester, I'm making a point to try and really be prompt about answering those emails and making them a focus of my daily routine. So expect a quick response, and expect for me to share the content of your email, i.e. if you have a question. I mean, not your whole email, but if you have a question, I think that others will benefit from the answer. I'll share the content in announcements so that we can all benefit from that. Anyway, so have a really fantastic week. I'm out here in the virtual world for you if you need me. Thanks for listening. Yes, no. One more thing I forgot. Yes, I want to give you a little preview. I was thinking when I made this video how really devoid of photos it was. I look forward this semester actually to show you lots of photos, lots of sites and things that we're going to be reading about. And since we've been focusing a lot on the basics, big concepts or geography, or like this week, the bare bones of how we do it, I really haven't had a lot of photos. So here's my little sneak preview for the future. Next week, our focus is going to be on prehistory and the history. And largely because throughout the whole rest of the semester, we are going to be talking about sites, quite honestly, in the way that your authors have been so far, as if you're familiar with them already. If not the sites, that you're familiar with the historical era. That you're familiar with, what the Greeks did and when they did it, and that sort of thing. That noise was just the files all falling off my desk, by the way. Anyway, so next week's readings are there to try and give you that foundation to feel a little bit better about where you are in time. And historical events, as opposed to in space, which is what we were focusing on last week. Anyway, again, I'm going to say goodbye this time, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.